Hey, ladies and gents, welcome to episode 10 of the Controlled Interest Gamecast, where we talk about video games and everything happening in the industry. As always, I'm joined by Jordan.
Oi, lads.
And Dominic.
Good afternoon, Jerrad.
How's it going, guys? So, jumping right into it, what we've been playing this week, I've been playing Overwatch Beta. It came available. So, the interesting thing is, it was open to people from the 3rd, I believe, who pre-ordered it, 3rd to the 9th. It's open to everybody. From the 5th to the 9th, and this is on console, PC, and PS4. Xbox, PC, and PS4. The game's amazing. It's really fun. It's actually going to be my topic later in the show. Been having a blast. Been playing that game on repeat. Loving it. Saw Civil War last night. We're going to have a discussion. We're going to be recording, and it's going to be up later this week as of you hearing this. Loved it. Best Spider-Man on film. Black Panther was fantastic. I'm not saying anything you haven't heard before.
Civil War's fucking dope.
Right. Great movie. Dom hasn't seen it yet, so we don't want to get too spoilery. But, yeah, just been playing a bunch of Overwatch, nothing new, and Civil War was awesome. So what about you guys?
First of all, the Civil War thing. If you don't have cereal in your mouth or a van full of nuns, then go to see Civil War immediately. Get to the theater nearest you. Throw some money in a dude's face. Get some popcorn, sit down, and watch that incredible movie ASAP.
I understand what you're saying, but a van full of nuns.
Well, obviously you haven't been listening to Podcast Beyond or the Kind of Funny Games Cast / PSL long enough.
Okay. So, all right. Fair enough.
But besides that, I've been playing, just played a little bit of Ratchet & Clank yesterday. Just for kicks and gigs. Then I've been playing a little bit of Battlefront. I don't have too much to say about that because I've played like less than an hour and a half of that game. It's cool. I'm enjoying the sci-fi vibes. I definitely feel like it's kind of an empty game without the season pass, but that's kind of conversation for another time. Besides that, the bulk of my week, I spent several hours on Quantum Break. Still really enjoying that. That game, man, like, especially if you're an Infamous fan, you got to play that game. If you got an Xbox, you got to play that game. If you like action games or third-person shooters, you got to play that game. I would totally recommend Quantum Break to people.
Any Persona?
No, I didn't. I haven't played Persona in a second. I haven't turned my PS3 on in a minute. Crap. I know there was something else I was playing. Oh, I've been playing a ton of Dead Nation on Vita because I've been wanting to play Alienation on Vita, but, you know, that's not a thing. And the remote play usually my remote play works great, but it was kind of messing up on me the other day. So I just started up a campaign on Dead Nation, and I've probably played that for, like, at least 10 hours this week. So lots of Dead Nation, and then I seriously feel like there was something else I was playing on my PS4, but I don't know. I might remember it. Go ahead, Dom.
What have I been playing? Pictionary, Cards Against Humanity. No, I'm just fucking around. I finished Ratchet and Clank. It was pretty cool. Real fun. The last boss was actually kind of a challenge. It was interesting. Yeah, super fun game. We've praised it enough on here already, so I won't be redundant. But otherwise, I just keep on digging through, grinding along Dark Souls, making some serious progress this past week, actually. And love every minute of it. Oh man! And actually, I want to point out one flaw that I never realized with Dark Souls 3. That's never been a problem before. You can't upgrade armor. I mean, I've recently just went through, like, I don't even know how you say it. Erythral?
Irithyll?
Irithyll, that's probably, yeah. Roaming abouts there. No,
The boss in that area is awesome, from what I've seen. It's really cool. You'll have a fun time with him. He seems like the hardest boss in the game so far, so.
Can't wait.
Alrighty, so let's get right into the news here, guys. The first story has to do with what we talked about last week, the COD 4 remake. So, you know, it was revealed earlier this week that the new Call of Duty Infinite Warfare game is going to have COD 4 in it. And this comes by way of IGN. And it basically talks about how the Activision CEO made some comments talking about the trailer. And he says there just aren't many entertainment franchises on Earth that can generate the kind of passion that Call of Duty can. and the Infinite Warfare trailer got a ton of hate as far as dislikes go. And the CEO actually came out and pointed out that Black Ops had some of the, I think it was like their highest disliked video or trailer that they had ever released, and it was their best-selling game. So he basically goes on to talk about how their trailers get tons of dislikes, but they get tons of views and tons of likes as well, so you should really take that into account, right? And he says that this is an industry like no other and a fan base like no other. We love that our fans treat this franchise like their own and have such strong points of view about it. And then I want to get to this point here. Let me just see if I can find it real quick. He makes a very valid point. So, because people are complaining about that it takes place in space, right? He says, where is it? I'm trying to find it. What we know for sure is that we always did what worked in the past and never took any creative risks. We wouldn't have a franchise. I read that wrong. What we know for sure is that if we always did what worked and we didn't take any risks, we wouldn't have a franchise. He said the day to worry is the day we stop trying new things. So he's basically saying, people shit on Call of Duty for the longest time for not changing, but now that they're changing, it seems like people are getting weary of that, but that's not the case because their games sell. So it's pretty interesting for a CEO like this to come out and talk about it, especially Activision. A lot of people dislike Activision off the get-go. What do you guys think about his comments saying that, people may say they hate this game, but it sells? So, I mean, that's really the point there, right?
Well, yeah, he's right. I mean, basically he's saying no press is bad press. I mean, ask Donald Trump about that. Like, people love to talk about how much they hate Call of Duty, but that kind of just, people are still talking about it.
About Call of Duty, yep.
Right, and he's right. Obviously, it sells like bonkers. I also like his point, though, about trying new things and making, even though they come out with something every year, however incremental they do make changes and iterations to each game, right? So he's got a point. Like, you wouldn't want Call of Duty Modern Warfare the same every single year. Like, they had to change things up, otherwise it wouldn't be what it is.
Yeah. Jordan, what do you think about this whole situation?
I agree with Dom. I mean, Black Ops 3 from Ghost and Advanced Warfare is very different from what I think even Infinite Warfare will be. So, I mean, I don't have a problem. Just like I don't have a problem with Assassin's Creed going every year. I really don't have a problem with Call of Duty coming every year because they're, like, seem like great games. They have really polished mechanics and they have cool game modes with the zombies and stuff and tons of content every year. So I don't think that it's not worth $60. Like, when people complain about annualized franchises, I don't understand that, because I get that there's some people that only buy like 3 games a year, but I mean, even when I was a kid and I barely had any money, like $60 a year wasn't that big of a deal. Like,
yeah,
it comes around once a year and you know, maybe sell a few games or mow a few extra yards or something. But like, if you love Call of Duty and you want the new mechanics and the new gameplay modes, all that stuff, like, I think it's worth $60 a year, just like to a lot of people Madden or FIFA is worth $60 a year.
Yeah, and I think having that tentpole series, like, I mean, I think we're in the minority of gamers, even having a gaming podcast where we play a fair number of games, right? A lot than probably the average person.
Yeah.
But there's people who look for these, like, tentpoles of, like, oh, I'm going to get Call of Duty every year, and ever so often they see another game they're interested. Having something you can count on every year is awesome. Kind of like going with the MCU, it's like, oh, these movies are coming out so often, but I know for a fact I'm going to have at least 2 movies a year that I'm going to love, right? No matter what. There's going to be 2 movies that I love. And I guess that's the same thing with gaming, is whether they're annualized or not, you know that, like, every year you're going to have something you love with Assassin's Creed or Call of Duty. And I like that he had the balls to talk about this. Like, a lot of CEOs wouldn't say this kind of stuff. And he's like, you know what? People say they hate our game, but they buy it, you know? And I think he has a point, and I think it was good of him to come out and say this, because people always think of, you know, Activision is this or that, and you heard it straight from the mouth. He's like, you guys may say you dislike the game, but you guys buy it every time it comes out. So the second story here comes by way of GameSpot. Timur Hussein, butchering that name, butcher one name a week, it seems like. An image of what is reportedly the protagonist of Watchdogs 2 has appeared online, and this comes by an Instagram account. It's this guy with a laptop with a picture. I don't know if you guys have seen this, but it's a picture of a guy who looks like he's from Watchdogs, and the caption on the Instagram picture says, "Had a blast doing motion capture work as the lead character in a new video game series." And he even captions it #Watchdogs2. And I don't know how many followers the account has. I'll just read you the article here. It says the account is now private, but an image of the post was captured. It features what looks to be a character of Asian descent sporting a baseball cap and a bandana covering his mouth. Going off of this real quick, Watch Dogs 2 is rumored to be in San Francisco. San Francisco has a pretty big Asian population, so it's pretty cool. Also, it's just cool to see a minority. If this is the protagonist, it's cool to see a minority, head up a video game franchise. I think that's really cool.
It's Glenn from The Walking Dead. Even young.
We have enough white dudes, It'd be cool if it was him. He's a great actor. It says he's also wearing a messenger bag, yada, yada, yada. Ubisoft previously stated a sequel to Watch Dogs will launch before the end of its next financial year, which is April 2017. The first Watch Dogs sold more than 9 million copies into retail, and its creative director has been vocal about what it would like to do next. This hasn't been confirmed that this is the picture, but it's off of a laptop. But it is. He could have just found this somewhere, I guess. I don't know. I don't know if we should read too much into it. But it is cool to see any news on this game because, it's funny how we went from having Watch Dogs bombarded in our face every year at E3 for like 5 years to not really hearing anything about Watch Dogs 2 for a while. So, do you guys think this picture is real?
But they sold 9 million copies of Watch Dogs 1.
Yeah,
that's
good.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Yeah, I mean, I'm ready for Watch Dogs 2. I've got the it's actually the only physical game that I do have, but I got the Watch Dogs original game like super cheap on PS4, so I'll play that once they actually announce the game. But I think this is totally real because
people make
this
fluffs.
happens all the time.
Yeah,
with voice actors and motion capture guys, like it just happens. And so yeah, this just looks totally legit to me.
Speaking of voice actors, you had a news story for us this week, didn't you?
Yeah, I've actually got a couple of stories over here. One of them is newsworthy, and one of them is kind of just something I wanted to bring up and kind of voice my support on. So the first one is a Kickstarter, and it's for a game by Bloomy Light Studio, which I think is French, and it's inspired by, like, I don't know if you guys are fans of the Studio Ghibli anime films, or Hideo Miyazaki, who directs most of their films. But the game itself is called Lin and the Spirits of Inao, and it's a 2D side-scroller action adventure type. It's got like Metroidvania stuff and environmental changes that you can do with your powers. But it looks really cool. It looks like, if you are a Studio Ghibli fan, the bosses look like monsters from the movies, and the art direction looks like it's from one of their movies, and it looks perfect in my eyes. I just can't wait. So this is probably going to be the first Kickstarter that I actually end up backing.
The link will be in the description if you're interested in actually checking out the Kickstarter and see if you want to donate yourself. So if you go to our YouTube,
please do.
On the news breakout, it'll be in the description. So definitely take a click on that and check out the game for yourself. It looks cool. It looks like a Studio Ghibli film in a game. It looks incredible.
But yeah, I totally think it's awesome, and super excited for that. They're saying it's only PC right now, but if they get like stretch goals done, then they might do, probably PS4 and Xbox One. I'm hoping for a Vita release because it looks like it would be perfect on Vita, but that's probably like a stretch of a stretch goal. So currently they are sitting at 20,901 pledged out of a 60,774 goal. So they've got 26 days to go. I think they'll get that done. And yeah, I'm going to be backing them up because it looks like an awesome game. So check her out. And then the second story is actually news that is coming to us from GameInformer.com, and it says Dishonored 2 taps vocal talent from Game of Thrones, Daredevil, and The Wire.
Ooh.
I wanted to bring this up because this voice cast is off the cheesy, my dudes. The original Dishonored has no shortage of voice acting. This is me reading the story. Tapping big names like Susan Sarandon, Lena Headey, and John Slattery to bring its characters alive. The sequel is promising an equal commitment to quality with a new bevy of familiar voices from Hollywood, television, and even classic games in the stealth action lineage. So first off, we have Vincent D'Onofrio from Daredevil most recently, known as Kingpin.
And Gomer Pyle,
And
Full Metal Jacket.
true that. And then we also have his co-star in Daredevil, Rosario Dawson, who is the Night Nurse, is what she technically plays in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yep.
So then we have Pedro Pascal, who was Prince Oberyn in Game of Thrones Season 5.
The Viper.
Season 5 or 4?
4.
4. My bad. I think he was awesome character, awesome actor in that show, so super excited to see him on this list. Then we have Sam Rockwell, who's one of my favorite actors. This dude's the best. You can see him in movies like Moon,
One of my favorite movies of all
Hitchhiker's
time.
Guide to the Galaxy, and The Green Mile. Moon isn't one of my favorite movies of all time, but Moon is an awesome movie, and you should definitely check it out.
Sam Rockwell, Kevin Spacey. Great.
Yes, Kevin Spacey plays the voice of a really weird-looking robot. Then we have Jamie Hector from The Wire and Heroes. Then we have Robin Lord Taylor, who is currently playing Penguin in Gotham, the
Okay.
TV series.
Yeah, I know that guy. I've never seen the show, but I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. Then Stephen Russell is going to be playing Corvo Atano. And I was thinking back, and I guess Corvo's totally a silent protagonist in Dishonored 1.
The 2 hours I played, I don't remember him talking.
Yeah. And then last but not least, we have Erica Luttrell, who is going to be playing Emily Caldwin, who's now all grown up and looking like a badass assassin. It says she is best known for Keisha Franklin in the Magic School Bus and Darla in Fallout 4.
You haven't seen those, man?
Dude, I love Magic School Bus, and of course, Fallout 4 is a well-beloved game. So, this voice cast is looking uber dope. What do you guys think about this? I'm super excited for this game because I love Dishonored 1. I love that awesome universe that they created. And okay, one tiny thing I want to mention here that I've been thinking about for Dishonored 2. Bethesda's already known with like Skyrim and Fallout for having their games go between first person and third person. Do you guys think that we could have a third person point of view for Dishonored 2?
I think it'd work in the right situation. I'm just going to go real quick with the voice cast. I think Lena Headey being in more video games is cool. I love her as an actress. She's going to be in Final Fantasy 15. Or the movie. I don't think she's going to be in the game, but she's going to be in the movie, the Kingslave.
Right.
But anything she's in is awesome. Oberyn Martell, that guy was fantastic. I haven't seen him in anything else, so I'll recognize his voice, obviously, when I play this game. I think it's a phenomenal cast. Vincent D'Onofrio is a tragically underrated actor. He was fantastic in Full Metal Jacket. He was in Law & Order for the longest time. Law & Order SVU. The guy's just a great actor. So I think it's a star-studded cast. I don't know if I'll play this game off of launch. Like I said, I played 2 hours of the first Dishonored, didn't really get the hooks in me, but the voice cast got me excited, and that's cool, I guess.
Yeah, I'm with you, Jordan. It's off the cheesy. I
I
never did play. I never did play the first one. I just missed it. It was just slipped through the cracks, right? So I actually own it. So it's gonna be at the front of the backlog. You know, that's the next thing I want to get done before this new one comes out. Shoot, what was I gonna say? Oh, and we have a release date for this. Got announced recently. November 11th, I believe.
Yes, thank you for including that. That's important.
Yeah, so looking forward to it.
Dom, do you think, since you are a Fallout 4 fan, do you think we could ever see, kind of like how Ubisoft lets their, like, some of the stuff in Fallout bleeds to Assassin's Creed and back and forth with Watchdogs and stuff? Do you think we could see them borrow that first to third? When I play my action adventure games, I would always choose third person over first, just because it feels like I can see my character and the gear that I'm getting and the weapons I'm using. It just feels so much more like the connection is stronger for me.
You must be pumped for VR then, huh?
That's interesting.
Oh, exactly.
I always first person. I don't really like third person. That's super interesting.
Because like even Insomniac's Edge of Nowhere looks so much more interesting to me in VR because it is third person, and I'm like, yeah, everyone's talking about how you have to be in first person in VR, and that doesn't connect for me.
I think for Dishonored, they need to keep it first person. Just the way the game works, it reminds me kind of Dying Light almost. You're not like necessarily climbing, but you're using that that blink ability a lot to jump forward. I don't know. Some of the mechanics to me seem like they work better in first person. I mean, I could be way off about that. Maybe it'd work great. We'll see.
I think if it was like a stealth section, it could make sense because you can see around corners and you can peer and you can kind of get a feel for things. But I don't know as far as like the very fast-paced sections of the game or these areas. I don't know if third person would lend itself well to the gameplay.
Right. Like in Skyrim and in Fallout, when I'm just wandering around, I always switch to third person. But during combat or
in houses, because you don't want to steal something, I'm always first person.
Right.
Yeah.
Always first person. Yeah.
Huh. I didn't know that it was like kind of clunky like that.
I'm just not comfortable with it. I'm more comfortable like if I'm in a house or something, I want to be able to have more precise like decision making, and to me it doesn't seem like it's very precise in third person. I don't even really like going third person that much. If I get like new gear or something, I'll definitely check it out. But the thing is like I couldn't imagine Dark Souls in first person. So it's kind of like I guess that game I enjoy in third person because that's the game, obviously.
The mechanic, like the third person mechanics in Dark Souls are so much better.
Yeah.
Than how it functions in Fallout or Skyrim, right? That's the real difference. So if they got it to, and this is still Bethesda, we're talking about different studios, but if they were, able to make it function and be as tight and as, I guess, quality controls that you see in a Dark Souls, then third person could be viable. But
yeah, it's a lot to ask of a studio.
The thing is with this, before we move on to the next topic, is I hope this is a Mass Effect situation where the first one, not a whole lot of people played it. It was a little clunky, but 2, they hit it right on the sweet spot. Mass Effect 2 is head and shoulders better than Mass Effect, so I really hope that Dishonored, 2 brings in a lot of people that didn't play the first one or played the first one didn't really like it, like myself, and it just nails it out of the park. Because it seems like a world I want to get invested in. It's just I couldn't really do it in the first game. So
hell yeah, that world, like I've mentioned it already, but I really love it. And speaking of the first one, the definitive edition's like $20, started out that way on PS4 and Xbox One, so I'd recommend that because it has all the DLC packs, and I'll probably get the platinum in that before the second one comes out because I want to do the I watched my friend do this when it came out on 360 originally, do the stealth like no kill run, and then there's ones where like no one even sees you, like a total shadow run. So like the platinum trophy on that is actually really cool and interesting to get.
Alrighty, so before we run too long here with the news, I want to get into our last story here. So 6 new games were inducted into the Video Game Hall of Fame this year. I'm going to name for you guys the first class that was announced last year. Then I'm going to give you guys a hint and you guys are going to guess. We're going to try to get through this as quick as possible. So the games that were actually in the first class for the Video Game Hall of Fame were Doom, Pong, Pac-Man, Super Mario Brothers, Tetris, and World of Warcraft. So, a fair balance of games. Obviously, Tetris up there, Super Mario Brothers, Pong, Pac-Man, World of Warcraft, what it did for the MMO space, Doom for first-person shooters. So they all obviously did something in gaming that was very important. So you guys are going to guess the next 6, okay? So the first one, the clue I'm going to give you is dysentery.
Oh, it's Oregon Trail?
Yeah. Oregon Trail is the first one. And this is just answer if you get the answer. Answer if you have the answer in your head. I'm not going to go back and forth. So once I say the clue, whoever thinks they have it. The second one, Blue Animal.
Smurf.
No.
Blue Animal.
I'll give you a second clue.
I didn't think Smurf was a game. I was just saying Smurf.
Blue Animal, Fast.
Sonic.
Yep.
Sonic the Hedgehog.
Sonic's the second game, so we have 2 down. Hey, listen.
Ocarina of Time.
Navi?
No. It's Legend of Zelda. I couldn't think of how to say something with just the original Legend of Zelda. And,
hey, listen.
So Legend of Zelda.
See now, Jerrad, I'm gonna keep interrupting you throughout the episode, just saying, "Hey, listen."
I don't know how to explain this one. You make people and then you watch them live life.
Sims.
Yep, Sims. That one's way too easy. So we got Oregon Trail, Sims,
that
Legend
was
of
so
Zelda,
philosophical the way you clued that game in.
Sonic the Hedgehog.
You watch them die.
Not Galaga, but the other game kind of like it.
Pac-Man? No, that's already in there.
Adam Sandler made a movie about this.
Galaxy Warrior 3, Death of the Galaxy.
Space Invaders.
Space Invaders,
Oh.
yeah.
The last game.
I knew it was something like that. I couldn't remember.
The last game in the list. Not San Andreas.
Grand Theft Auto 3.
Grand Theft Auto?
Dom got it. Grand Theft Auto 3. It's a third one. It's kind of hard to speculate. I didn't play Grand Theft Auto 3, so I don't even know the story. Yeah, so the list is Grand Theft Auto 3, Legend of Zelda, Oregon Trail, Space Invaders, Sonic the Hedgehog, and Sims. The only one that's weird to me is Sonic the Hedgehog, for it being in the second class of Hall of Fame inductions. I think that's weird to me. I think Sonic is kind of overrated. It just seems weird to me. It seems like there's like, why isn't Castlevania in it? Like, why didn't Castlevania get it? Or Mega Man? It just seems Sonic the Hedgehog. That's weird. Maybe they're like, we need to get a Sega game in there. I don't know. It was weird to me to see it on this. Space Invaders makes sense. It's a classic. Legend of Zelda, obviously. Grand Theft Auto 3 revolutionized the Grand Theft Auto franchise and like games like that. Period. Oregon Trail, obviously, for that kind of style of game. The Sims for simulators, obviously. It just seems like Sonic was a weird addition. It seems like there could have been plenty other games that could have gone in there above it. Really weird. But that is your 2016 World Video Games induction. We're going to get it right into the topic here. Dom, I believe you're going first with a conversation talking about physical versus digital, right?
Right. So obviously, the industry as a whole, just like music and movies we're moving towards all digital, right? That's kind of, it's not a hidden fact to anyone. Like, that's just where we're going. It's taking a while though, because of people like me, who quite simply just kind of prefer to have that case on the shelf, and it makes no sense. But I understand it's way less convenient. You can't get things at midnight necessarily when they first come out. But there's something about having that game case on the shelf. So I guess before I continue, I'm on PC. Obviously, I have everything in my Steam library. For the most part, I'm moving towards all digital as far as that's concerned. Everything on 3DS I have digitally, because that kind of, portable games not digital just seems like an oxymoron to me. But on PS4 I'm still physical. And aside from like everything being, aside from me wanting the actual game cases, and even though there's not much for manuals anymore, that used to be cool when you get the manuals too, right? But like, for example, Fallout came with a poster in its game case too, which you wouldn't have gotten if you bought the game digitally.
Witcher 3 had a bunch of stuff that I missed out on.
Yeah, me too. It's like I got the better version on PC, but yeah, I missed out on all that business that came in that case.
The maps and stuff, yeah.
Right. So the only other factor for me that really is truly keeping me, because I would get over the whole like collector mentality eventually, just because it's much less convenient. But Amazon Prime, 20% off all new physical games, in pre-orders in the first week they come out or whatever, keeps me buying physical games on PS4, right? So anything I buy for PS4, I still buy physical just because of that deal that they have. And I know Best Buy does a similar program as GameStop, I imagine, as well. So there's still that thread that keeps me with physical games so far. So I guess I'm just curious, like, I'm guessing you guys are both all digital at this point, but I mean, we can talk about why digital is better, or, what are the shortcomings and whatever it might be.
So for me, I really love digital over physical. It's kind of like, so I'm with you. Like, I understand the appreciation of like game cases. Like, I completely understand it. It's not a foreign thing to me. Like, I understand why people like it. Like, it just looks nice. I like the steelbook cases a lot, but a lot of times those come in collector's editions, and I don't like spending $150 on a game unless it's a game I truly love, which I want to try to do with the Andromeda.
And unless you're having all steelbook cases on your shelf,
it's
like
mismatched.
It kind of just sticks out, yeah.
The biggest thing holding digital back, I think there's two big things: memory and internet.
Yep.
Memory, obviously, I think that these consoles aren't coming out with enough allocated memory to begin with. But then again, memory is becoming a lot cheaper. I think you get like a terabyte drive for like $60, which is insane to me. I think like a Seagate you can get. I have a external hard drive on my Xbox. Never had an issue. I never have enough games on my thing to where it fills up with the internal and the external storage. Also, I don't know if this is the way on PlayStation, but there's a section where you can see all the games that you like quote unquote own, and you can download at any point that aren't currently downloaded on your console. So if I want to play a game and I don't have it downloaded, I can download it. Also, I'm fortunate enough to have a really good internet connection. I believe I'm like 170 download and 12 up, which is really good.
Go home. I hate you.
So I have really good internet.
Jesus fuck.
Yeah, and it's not expensive either.
That doesn't even make sense.
I get around 20 on a good day.
Yeah.
It's so imbalanced.
Well, upload, it's really hard for them to make upload speeds higher for some reason. Like, a lot of places here in the state of New Mexico, the highest you can get for upload is like 15. Unless you're a business line, then you get like way higher. But, yeah, so internet and memory are the two biggest things holding it back. Fortunately enough, I have both of those things. So, I love digital. It's easier. I'm lazy. I don't have to switch discs. I just think it's a lot easier. The weird thing I have
Dude, your games must download lightning fast.
Really fast. I downloaded the Overwatch Beta that's like 11 gigs in like 10-ish minutes.
Jesus Christ. I have fast speeds and you're like killing me here.
Yeah. And I'm fortunate enough to have that. So like I said, this isn't an every person case thing. The weird thing to me about Amazon is that they're making that deal specifically on physical games. And I think they're kind of holding the industry back because a lot of people buy games off Amazon. A lot of people buy a lot of things off Amazon. And it's weird to me that they'll cut that deal for physical games because it seems like the whole thing with Amazon is they're trying to get rid of the brick and mortar stores. So Amazon is, to me, is the digital Walmart, right? Whether you see Walmart however you do, like cheap version of Target or however you want to see it, Walmart is for everybody. You can go in there and find almost anything you need. And I think that's what Amazon is. And they seem to be super digital focused. And it's weird to me that they're cutting these deals for physical games. And now aren't they paywalling some video game new releases for like Prime?
Well, apparently
both of those things seemed weird to me.
Yeah, apparently some games you can only buy from Amazon if you're a Prime member, apparently.
Yeah.
That's
what the hell is
really
that?
weird.
But you're right, it's weird because they also sell lots of digital games. Like, I've bought Steam codes from Amazon.
Yeah.
Right?
Or even PS4 codes.
And even, you can buy 3DS game codes on Amazon too. But yeah, you don't get that 20% off discount when you buy digital, which is interesting. So that, I mean, they must make like a sizable amount more off of the physical copies when they sell them, right? Because there has to be some monetary incentive that that's
definitely
why they only do that.
Well, so
no, they would make more off of digital codes because you're not paying for the box and the disc. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know what it is, but there's something that has to make that a better buy.
Going back,
Yeah.
Going back to me saying that I really like digital. Also, I'm a college student and I live in with my parents, obviously, and I have a room. So me having a lot of game cases will take up a lot of room. So having digital makes a lot of sense. If I have my own house, I think I'd be more prone to be more physical, and having the cases and having my shelf of like gamer glory, I think that partially has to do with it. I think the other thing is I really wish games shipped with a physical game shipped with not necessarily a digital code because that could ruin the industry as far as people giving away their codes, right? But I think that you can include it so when you put the disc in, it recognizes your disc and it downloads a digital version that's exclusive to you since you put the disc in, but you can only use it once, kind of thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you don't have to put the disc in anymore. You get the best of both worlds. You can be lazy, so you don't have to change the disc. You get the digital copy, and you still get the case that you can look at, right, Dom? So I think it's the best of both worlds. I think they just have to figure out the logistics of it, because you can't ship it with the digital code because then people are just going to be buying a game and giving the copy to their friends, So I think if they can figure out a way to make that work.
It would be easier just to ship the case with no disc and the code on a card inside the case, right?
Yeah, but that's weird to me.
Very weird, but I would love it.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though.
Why would you want that, though?
Yeah.
Then you're just waiting for a case to get there.
And
you could have had the code emailed to you like 2 days ago.
And here's the problem with...
email me the code and then send me an empty case, too, or something.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Here's the problem with Nintendo 2.
All right, start sending Dom empty video game cases.
God. That's going to be our thing. They send you a new one every week. Yeah, but that's my spiel. I'm more digital, but I think it's because of the point where I am in my life and not so much. I understand the argument for physical. I think it's better though for digital because obviously we're going to get price cuts if people don't have to pay manufacturers and people to make the boxes and they don't have to send them to distributors and everything like that. If it goes more towards digital, we'll start seeing more people go into that $40 price point, that $30 price point, where it's no longer having to stick to the $60 model. Because there's games I play that they could be worth more than $60. They could be worth less than $60. And if you have a game that people are iffy about buying for $60, but you sell it for $30, and you don't have to pay all these other costs, you're still going to make a profit, and you're probably going to sell more games. So that's my spiel.
There's really, to me, there's very few disadvantages to being all digital. You know, speaking of Witcher 3, I also got the expansion pass, and if you buy the expansions physical, then you get like Gwent deck card packs, which is really cool.
Yeah.
And I'd love to have those, but yeah, I mean, there's just like some random special things there. And then I guess the biggest one is that you can't, you know, physically take the disc out and take it to a buddy's house or whatever, but I don't know. I kind of just play my buddies' video games when I'm at their houses. So.
You could go to your buddy's house and log into your PSN account.
But then you'd have to download it, and unless your buddy's me with great internet, you're going to be there a while downloading the game.
Very true.
I mean, if you're, you know, take a disc over, then you still have to install it to their hard drive, so it's weird there too. But I mean,
yeah,
I just think, like, for me, there's so many advantages to being digital. I was pretty proud of myself last year. I started living a 100% digital lifestyle. So I had my MacBook for several years that didn't have a disk drive in it, and so that was all digital. And then I started like trading in my physical copies of Xbox and PS4 games so that I could get the digital version and not have like discs laying around anymore. It's not even that I care about the cases as much, it's just the fact that, I don't know, I really like having digital games, and I think that's because I like hopping around on a console a lot to like 4 or 5 different games in a couple hours. And then especially on PS4, it's all about remote play, because if I'm not in my house, I mean, I could be like halfway around the world and have access to my complete PS4 library without having to call my brother at my house being like, hey, could you switch out disc A for disc B so I can play Infamous or whatever. Like, I can just jump around games a bunch. So
switching between games, I think you're more prone to want to do that if you have all digital games, because
I totally agree.
It's not hard to switch games, but it's another step. And you're like, I could keep playing this. I could play this other game I want to play, but then I have to take out the disc and put the other one back in. But if you're on the fly, just pop out, go to the other game, boom, boom, boom. If it's all digital and it's so quick, like, it just makes everything easier. You're more prone to want to play more games.
When I'm jumping around on my PS4, sometimes I think about you poor physical people, Dom, and I'm like, wow, there's no way they're playing like 6 games in 3 hours, because they're just not getting up that many times, you know?
Yeah, I mean, for me, for the most part, I'm playing a game, you know, one game at a time all the way through, for the most part. But, so it's not too bad of an issue. What I was going to say is, another big piece of this is kind of the ecosystem and the UI for whatever the platform is. So on 3DS, I love the way things are organized, and like I can move around the tiles and put games into folders and, you know, have them however I want, given that they're digital, right?
Yeah.
And on Steam, I absolutely love the way my Steam library is displayed. I mean, I can turn everything into icons, or I can have them listed, and if they're, you know, highlighted, then they're installed. Otherwise, they're not. It's real easy, and it just gives me a good feeling of like, yeah, these are my games, right? And like they're in my library. I don't know.
Customizing your library. Yeah.
But PS4 for me doesn't do that. It's just the interface is just weird. Like Netflix is mixed in with like random games or random disc games that I don't even have anymore. And then there's some digital games, like the whole media bar thing. I don't know. It just doesn't do it for me in the same way that like Steam does.
Well, if you go to your library, there's like a list with all, and that has applications and games, and then there's games and applications separately too, so you can just look at your games. And then you can like delete the old disc games that you don't play off of your hard drive.
Yeah, I still have to do that for a few. I'm just lazy. But yeah, so it's not too bad. Like you scroll over to like the apps tab or whatever, and then below that it shows all the apps you have installed. But then that's fine. I wish it was just that though. I wish games didn't just also pop up in the main media bar, as if trying to make it more convenient. Like, oh, you recently played this, so we're gonna, put it up top for you. I hate that. I want things organized in a particular way.
I don't know. I was actually just about to say how, like, you're talking about looking at your Steam library, and people always mention, oh, I'm physical because I like looking at my, games over on my at my shelf and, like, having them all laid out and lined up alphabetically or whatever way you like looking at them, alphabetically. But for me, yeah, when I go into my games tab on my PS4, and I, like, with PS Plus, I literally have over 100 games at this point, and I'm just like, damn, what do I want to play today? And I can jump between anything, back and forth. I don't know. I like having the digital library, like, all laid out, so I don't have to, like, pick out a certain game case, go, oh, what is this? What does this look like? It's just all the icons right there in front of me, and I can choose any one. So for me, that's a plus.
Yeah, before we go too long on this topic, on Xbox, you can actually pin any app or game to your home, and you can completely organize it. So I have, like, all of the RPGs I'm currently playing, so I have, like, Fallout 4 up there, Lords of the Fallen, like, Division, all those on one, and then I have all my 2D platformers on the next row, and then I have all of my movie apps. So I have, like, Netflix and HBO Go and Crackle. So, like, you can completely organize that, and it looks great. My biggest issue with the PlayStation has always been its UI. And it just doesn't work for me. It might work for some people, but it just doesn't work for me. It's weird. Yeah, I think that's it.
Xbox has, I gotta give it up to Xbox, because they really have some features just in Xbox One in general that are just way beyond what PS4's got going on.
They should. I mean, Microsoft makes Windows, so
yeah,
they should have a good handle on operating systems and UIs.
Yeah, definitely. Any closing thoughts on digital versus physical?
Well, like I said, I love the fact that I can, pre-order a game digital, have it pre-downloaded for me, and then since I'm Central Time Zone instead of Eastern, I get to play it at 11 o'clock on a Monday night. Super excited to do that for Uncharted 4. And for me, if I'm going to a midnight release at GameStop, I'm not getting it back to my house and installed before, like, 1 or 1:30. So that's just, I love that convenience right there.
And the pre-download.
The pre-download, man. I'm telling you, I love it.
Dom, any closing thoughts? Mr. Physical?
Yeah,
I love it.
I'll move over eventually, right?
Yeah. I understand it, though. I understand where you're coming
There's
from.
enough disadvantages to where I could see at this point in time, 2016, I don't think you're crazy for being physical at this point.
And that discount, I'm telling you, it's huge. It's like, it ends up being like $12 on a $60 game. I mean,
yeah,
you got Ratchet for like $32, didn't you, or something like that?
Yeah, that's originally a $40 game, so that was why that was. But
it's still a good deal.
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, I could certainly afford to pay $12 more. But, like, why would I? Like, the benefits of being digital just aren't worth the $12 extra for me. I still get it.
Yeah, that is something that we didn't bring up until now. I think generally I pay a little bit more for games going digital as opposed to physical, but I think there's so many flash sales, and, like, Square Enix, EA has their own sales on the PlayStation Store. PlayStation has, like, 10 different types of sales throughout the year, so I think through that I recoup enough money for it to even out in the end.
Definitely.
All right. What's the next topic?
Speaking of digital games, I recently downloaded the Overwatch Beta. So you were able to, like I was stating before earlier in the show, you were able to play it from, I think, the 3rd. I mean, it might be the 1st, if you pre-ordered the game. Obviously, I haven't pre-ordered the game. I didn't really even have this game on my list. I wanted to try out the beta on PC, but Blizzard wasn't fortunate enough to send me an email. A bunch of random people got emails saying you could play the beta. I wasn't one of them, because screw Jerrad, right? The beta was going to be available for anybody, 5th to the 9th, PS4, Xbox One, PC, right? May 4th, which is 2 days ago now of recording this episode, I was like, oh, maybe I can pre-download it, right? So I go to the store and I click search Overwatch Beta. Pops up, I download it. I'm like, okay, cool. I probably can't access it till 12 tonight, right? It was already like 6 o'clock, I think, in the afternoon. I go to play it. I go click on it just to see if it worked, because I'm like, oh, maybe it works. I got to play it. so I was able to access
Nice.
it half a day early. And it wasn't anywhere on the Xbox like home screen or anywhere in the games app. I went and searched for it to download it. So maybe because I actually went and searched for it and it wasn't like publicly available, I was able to get in. Game's fantastic. I think a lot of people are comparing this to Battleborn, and I think that's unfair. I think they're different games. If you talk about specifically the multiplayer, they are very similar. They're first-person, objective-based games, but I don't think they're necessarily going for the same thing. So when I was talking about Battleborn and we were talking about our impressions, Jordan, I was saying the multiplayer aspect of it felt very MOBA-esque like.
Yeah.
And I think it's because it was a bit slower of a game to me, it felt like. With Overwatch, it's very fast. So Battleborn is more Battlefield-esque, and this one's more Call of Duty-esque as far as speed of the gameplay. Characters are great. Battleborn also had that going for it. This game is just so addictively fun. The characters are interesting. The characters are cool. I played as a guy named Hanzo who has a bow. They have abilities. They have ultimates too. But this one, it seems like this one's better at explaining the gameplay. So for you, you said that it seems like it was a lot going on, right? It was too complicated. This game, even the tutorial level, Blizzard is very good at the tutorial introductions to things. I don't know if either of you have played Hearthstone. They're very good at introducing you to things you're not familiar with and getting you familiar. They make things very vanilla. They shrink it down and they make it very digestible. I think the game is fantastic. It's a game that it wasn't even on my radar buying, and I'm actually going to be buying it and probably pre-ordering it. And when it comes out on the 24th. It's just so fun. It's hectic gameplay. If you guys have seen any of the trailers, they have really cool characters. There's Tracer, who there was a controversy about a post she had. They have this giant gorilla scientist named Winston. They have a lot of very cool characters. They have a guy named Reaper, who's essentially the Grim Reaper that carries around 2 shotguns. And they all have interesting mechanics. So, for instance, Reaper, his ultimate is he basically spins in a circle and says, die, 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 and he shoots everything around in a straight circle. And whenever somebody dies, he can pick up their souls to gain health. But that's not for every character. So, for instance, Hanzo, the character I was playing, his passive is he could scale buildings, right? And he's an archer, so it's kind of like fits into his build, right? So I can shoot from distances, right? And his ultimate is I shoot an arrow that actually spawns a giant dragon that flies in a little spiral and kills everything in its path. There's a lot of strategy to it. The gameplay is really cool. So it's not just simple domination, objective-based things. They switch it up. There's points where you have to hold a certain point for a certain amount of time, and if they capture it, then they have to capture the second point. There's ones where you have to guide something across the map. Like, it changes it up a lot. And I don't know if that's just for the beta. Maybe you can get specific game modes when the actual game comes out. But it's fun. And when it comes to video games, that's a primary factor. Like, is the gameplay solid? Is it fun? And it hits both of those. If neither of you have played the beta, right? I know you guys aren't really multiplayer kind of guys, right?
No, but I did remember to put it on my game release calendar on my phone, and I'm definitely thinking I'll probably jump in at some point and try it out at least, because I've been thinking since, I saw that they were, when they originally announced the game, it was just PC, and then they did decide to come to console, so yeah, I've been thinking about it.
What about you, Dom?
Yeah, I'm not too big into the multiplayer stuff, and this game in particular just never grabbed me. So yeah, not my cup of tea.
Yeah,
I will say I'm enjoying Battlefront, but it's almost killing me that I have to play with other people.
Yeah, it's tough. I wish Battlefront just had a campaign, and I'd be.
Yeah,
I dried out of it pretty quickly after a month.
I'd even have fun with bots. But as far as Overwatch goes, it does look like a great game that I could. I think I'll definitely play it. Maybe if I wait a year and pay like $20 for it or something.
Even if you're not interested in the game, Dom, you should check out. They do like these cinematic like stories. They're not really trailers. They just tell stories about the characters,
awesome,
and they're animated really well. They look like a Pixar movie. Like even if you don't want to play the game at all, just the characters are fantastically done. It's really cool. Like
nope. I won't do it. I'm stuck in my ways. I won't do it.
Oh God. Yeah, it's a fun game. I like multiplayer games because it gives me a chance to bond with friends who I don't get to spend a lot of time with who live in different cities and stuff. I do appreciate single player experiences a lot, but the multiplayer games are really fun, and I'm a very competitive person, so I like being better than people at things. So being able to... The cool thing is, I want to explain this real quick before we get off the topic, because I know you guys didn't really play it or anything, but the first game I went in didn't have any familiarity with the actual game. I've seen some clips and stuff. The character I was playing at that's an archer, he has an ability where you get an arrow, and once it bounces off a wall, it splits into a bunch of arrows, and they bounce in a bunch of different directions, right? Physics-based, so depending on where you hit, it bounces off of that. 5 minutes into the game, I come up like this little chute. I'm in this like little trolley with the hole on the outside of it. I see an enemy down below me. I bounce an arrow off of the wall. It bounces down, hits two things, and then hits the guy, and I kill him. So right there was a wow moment. Like when you play games, there's like moments you want to share with friends, right? So it was definitely, I was like, oh, this is cool. The cool thing about this
Xbox, record that.
Exactly. The cool thing about this game that I like over a lot of other multiplayer games, and Dom, you might agree with me on this. When you played COD 4, don't you think it would be cool that if you had a really cool kill streak in a game, at the end of the game it would show you, from your perspective, getting that kill streak and show everybody else how badass you are? Don't you think that would have been cool? Like a play of the game?
Well, doesn't that happen, like the final kill?
Well, that's a kill cam, but I'm saying like a play of the game. Like if this happened in the middle of the game, this wasn't at the end. Like it's like play of the game, and you just went on this massive streak, right? And everybody got to see it. In Overwatch, it does that. It picks somebody as the play of the game, and it's not just kill based. I've seen people get it with support play of like making sure people are healed and stuff. So it doesn't just focus on kills. You get a play of the game, and it shows somebody just doing work, and It's really cool because you get it like, oh yeah, that was my moment in the game, right? Whereas with Call of Duty, it's the last kill cam, which sometimes it's a guy not playing and somebody shoots him and you win the game, right? It's not very, it's kind of anticlimactic. Another thing with this that's really cool is the loot system. You get a bunch of stuff. Like it's not like a MOBA where you have to pay for a bunch of stuff. They just give you a bunch of stuff. You get voice packs, you get poses. In very PC game fashion, Dom, you can there's spray that you can put on the wall. I don't know if you're familiar with that with like CSGO and stuff like that, but you can usually spray walls with like a certain like decal that you make, and in this game you have that, which is pretty cool. I just appreciate these PC centered companies making making their games for the console. Like Rocket League being on PS4 and Xbox is really cool. Blizzard shifting their games over to consoles is really cool. Smite being on both. I just like that these. Usually it's the other way around of like console companies making PC games, obviously, like PC ports. But it's cool that PC games are now shifting and making stuff for console, because before I had a gaming PC, I would have never played a lot of these games because they never came to console. So,
I mean, yeah, I'm not your traditional PC gamer, right? Any game that you think of as a PC game, I'm pretty much not into it.
Yeah.
I mean, I started on consoles. I like the games that are on consoles. Yeah, I play them on PC, granted, always with a controller.
Yeah.
Right? And sitting back on my couch. So I'm not.
You're a console gamer.
Traditional...
You're a console gamer via PC.
Right.
Yeah, I got you. I understand where you're coming from. Overwatch is a fun time. If you haven't downloaded the beta, if you're listening to this on Sunday, it'll be. What'll Sunday be? What's today? The 6th. So it'll be the 8th. You'll have today and tomorrow if you're listening to this on SoundCloud to download and play it. It's really cool. It's really fun. Definitely check it out. I don't want to go too far on this because I know it's definitely a topic you guys don't have a lot to say about, so I'll just leave it there. Going off of us both watching Civil War and enjoying the hell out of Spider-Man, Jordan, you had a topic for us that kind of pertains to our web-slinging crusader.
Yes, your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Spider-Boy.
Indeed. So, yeah, we knew, obviously, when we heard this rumor that I'm about to talk about, we knew at that time that Spider-Man was going to be in Civil War, Captain America 3. And by now we know he's awesome in Civil War. So what I'm bringing up here is this crazy rumor that Sucker Punch, Sony's first-party studio best known for both the Sly Cooper and infamous video game entertainment series, might be making a first-party exclusive Spider-Man game for PlayStation consoles if they make it for Vita, which would be awesome. But
well, you're not wrong, because they got to make it for Neo too, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it'll definitely have the Neo version. Pump up the volume. But yeah, so Spider-Man could. I mean, let's just kind of run with this rumor as if it's real, because we don't know.
For all things considered, let's say it's real for the sake of this conversation.
Sure, and it's possible because Sony owns the film rights to Spider-Man. That's why it took so long for him to get into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, because Marvel Studios, the independent studio, had to buy the rights for Spider-Man to put him in the movies. So Sony's got that locked down. They could totally, Sony Pictures could be like, hey, Sony PlayStation, we got you, bros. Here's some Spider-Man. and so it's definitely plausible. And Infamous is my favorite superhero video game series. Infamous Second Son is an incredible video game with incredible traversal across an awesome real version of Seattle. So I could totally see you swinging around New York. You know, they just did that on PS4 already. They've already got the Sucker Punch, the studio, already has the know-how to make an awesome superhero video game. So if this is real, man, I'm totally down, because obviously you guys know how big a fan I am of Infamous. Second Son's like my favorite PS4 game. I do think that Sucker Punch is Sony's best first-party studio, because, you know, Naughty Dog's overrated, but
oh man.
But yeah, you know, if anyone could make an incredible Spider-Man game in the vein of kind of how Rocksteady took Batman with the Arkham games and made them, you know, not stupid licensed games, made them something really cool, I think Sucker Punch are the guys to really knock this out of the park. So what do you guys feel about this situation?
The idea of a Spider-Man game being exclusive, I don't know, it just seems weird to me, you know, that it'd only be on PlayStation.
But that would be huge.
Oh, it would be gargantuan. Like, that would be awful for Xbox.
Phil Spencer would crap his pants.
It just, they can do it. Sucker Punch, they're the right guys to do this, and gals. It could be so similar to Infamous, and they could build on, like, you know, the Spider-Man mechanics. I'm more curious, because we know the gameplay would be great, the traversal would be awesome. I'm more curious what story they would want to tell with their, right? What Spider-Man story? Is this an origin story, or, you know, what bad guys are they going to include and all that? That's what I'm really curious about. We know everything else would be great.
Yeah, so for me, I think the timing, if this is real, would be crazy. So, for instance, Jordan and I are living off of the Spider-Man hype train right now. Like, we both can't wait for Spider-Man Homecoming.
It's keeping me going, man. I'm just mainlining that shit.
So, here's the thing is, like, if everybody's already riding the hype train of wanting to see the next Spider-Man movie, what better way to get people excited for the Neo than to have this as a, I don't want to say launch title, but, you know, a launch title for the Neo, right? Like, it'll come out when the Neo comes out. I think it's a perfect match for studio and game. They do great superhero games. I also think that another way that people aren't talking about this is, yeah, Infamous are great games, but you have a lot of people coming over to PlayStation this generation, right? A lot of people.
Yep.
A lot of people who haven't played Infamous. A lot of people who aren't familiar, so they didn't really have any background as to wanting to play new Infamous, so they probably didn't buy the new one, right? If you get a Spider-Man game in their hands from that studio, and then they find out that they made other superhero games, that definitely helps out Sucker Punch, right? Like, it's like, because you'll get people to buy Spider-Man that wouldn't buy Infamous. Yeah, Infamous is a great game and everything, but to somebody who just converted over from Xbox to PlayStation, they don't care. Just like I don't really care about Uncharted, and it's a fantastic franchise. I don't care about it, right? But if you give me Naughty Dog making a superhero game that I love, or Crash Bandicoot, God forbid, or Jack 4, God forbid, I might get invested in those other franchises because they actually make something I enjoy. So I think the reverse traction for Sucker Punch could be infinite on this, for people getting in, playing a Spider-Man game, and then they're like, oh, they'll definitely make a sequel on this, but before that, I can salivate myself with their Infamous games. So I think this could be huge for Sucker Punch. With all the people coming over and being PlayStation owners now, I think it could be huge.
You're totally right about the Civil War hype train. You know, I think that the Amazing Spider-Man movies with Andrew Garfield were great. I enjoyed them, but they did, like, the way that stuff just fell apart, and that series fell apart, definitely kind of damaged Spider-Man. Plus, it's, you know, the second series we had in 15 years. So I think Captain America Civil War is going to reinvigorate Spider-Man in a lot of mainstream fans' eyes that don't read comic books and don't play video games as much. So by the time, you know, they could make this game, Spider-Man Homecoming will be coming out, or will be already out, and I think this is just like perfect timing. You make a good point about the timing of it, because especially, like, Dom, once you see this movie, you're going to be like, yeah, dude, Spider-Man's awesome, just because the way he's not even in the whole thing, but the way that they bring Spider-Man back in such a cool way, people are going to be hype on Spider-Man for a while, especially with his own solo movie, and a game is just going to make the hype train go crazy.
Yeah, I'm real curious his role in Civil War. So yeah,
It's
like,
awesome, dude.
the timing of all this is yeah, this could just explode, right? Like the hype train, like you guys are saying, like it's just.
Now remember, they didn't even get Spider-Man. Marvel didn't even get the contract with Sony until like late last year, and they like kind of shoved him into Civil War last minute. So I think it'd be closer to Spider-Man Homecoming when they would actually know what was going on.
Yeah, true. And it could be that this game doesn't come out this year either, and it could come out next year, which would be even crazier timing. Like
I would expect that.
Yeah,
next year for this.
Speaking of like on the topic of good timing, bad timing, if that Deadpool game would have came out like 2 years later, it would have sold a lot better than it did. As far as what I'm playing this coming week, I'm going to finish playing Overwatch. I'm probably going to watch some people play Uncharted 4 because I want to have a little bit of indication as to what the gameplay is like. I want to be informed. I watch games if I'm not able to buy them, so I at least have an idea. I'm going to be playing Overdrive, Overdrive. Jeez. Planet of the Sea to Sunset Overdrive in my head.
Overdrive.
Going to be playing Overwatch, finishing the beta on that. Playing some more Division. I think I'm like level 26 right now. Getting through that. Going at a slow pace. It's a fun game. I don't want to rush through it or anything because there's really nothing else that's like grasping my attention right now. And I might hop into Sunset Overdrive. I haven't gotten back into it since playing the hour and a half. I loved it though, but I'll probably end up getting back into that. But yeah, that's pretty much it for me. What about you guys?
I'm head over heels into Game of Thrones right now, by the way. I forgot to
mention.
Yeah,
same.
Oh, man.
I don't want to get into spoilers, but yeah.
Right. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to that that next episode, obviously, because, but I'll be playing Dark Souls for the next 2 days here until Tuesday when I get my copy of Uncharted. I probably won't have it completed by the next time, by next week's podcast, but I'll have a couple thoughts at least. So
I hope it's awesome. I hope you guys like it. I hope it's everything you guys want.
Yeah, for me this next week, that's what I'm super excited for. So far, the reviews are looking like it's everything that we are going to want. And for me, since I've spent so much time with the Uncharted 4 beta, I do know that got to give it up to Naughty Dog this one time. I think they realized that the biggest issue in their video games is their lackluster shooting. So Uncharted 4 has definitely fixed that. 60 frames a second. It feels really good. Very excited about that game on Tuesday. Well, Monday night since I'm digital. But anyways, besides that, I'm definitely going to be playing more Dead Nation on the Vita. Been loving that, as well as Final Fantasy 3 on the Vita. And hoping to finish Ratchet and Clank soon. I need to get through that game just because it's not too long and I am really enjoying it. And then maybe by next week I'll be able to give you some actual impressions on Battlefront because I'll have played it for more than an hour. So that's what I'm going to be doing this week.
So thank you guys for watching or listening or watching or however you intake this podcast to episode 10 of the Controlled Interest Gamecast. Yeah, our 10 podcast, 2.5 months. We appreciate any listen, share, like, all of that good stuff. As always, at 50, if we ever reach 50 followers on Twitter, we're going to give away a physical copy of Star Wars Force Awakens. Like we said, any share, like, follow, anything like that really helps us grow. I think we got a couple of subscribers this week on YouTube, so that's awesome. That's 2 more than we had last week, so definitely seeing improvement there. Yeah, thank you guys for listening, everything like that. Anything else before we go, guys? Any closing words?
Greatness from small beginnings.
What? Oh, okay. All right. See you, Shu. Yeah, Shuhei just called. He said he totally agreed that Sucker Punch is way better than Naughty Dog. So
shoot! I hope he told Neil Druckmann that too.
That's the definitive opinion on that one.
Also, before we go, real quick, last closing statement: the art on the disc for Uncharted 4 is unfortunately hilarious, where you can put your finger through and it looks like Nathan Drake's wiener.
Hey, you can do that on Bloodborne too. You can put two fingers in your Bloodborne disc and make it look like butt cheeks, Dom. I don't have the disc, so I wouldn't know. But...
Oh man.
Alrighty, catch you guys next week for episode 11. Thank you guys as always for listening, and yeah, catch you guys next time. Bye.
What's up, everybody? Thanks for checking out the Controlled Interest Gamecast. If you want to stay up to date, remember to subscribe on YouTube and iTunes. and give us a follow on SoundCloud and on Twitter at CTRLINT. Hashtag Smash the Dunst!